Okay, are there any questions?
Well, I have a question. Okay, so Tuesday is approaching my favorite holiday, which is Fat Tuesday. And
Mhm.
um and I was thinking, does Buddhism have anything like that where it's like this celebration and this gluttony kind of thing, and then we go and we atone or Lent and this idea of denial and I guess it's atonement. I don't really understand it, that we didn't practice it that way when I was a Christian. And so, but then I thought, well, other religions have that too, where you have this celebration, and life is that way. We have celebrations and then periods of austerity. But it seemed that that's counterintuitive to Buddhism because of which I know the middle way means more than just that not one way or the other, not the Goldilocks, but still, Buddha said, had this wonderful celebration. He was a prince, he had food, everything, and that wasn't enough. And then he starved himself, and that wasn't enough either. So I don't know if you could speak to that. And in Buddhism, is there that idea of it? I mean, I've never had celebrations or ceremonies for that sort of thing in my experience of Buddhism, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, so there isn't one Buddhism, there are many Buddhisms. Okay, so there's roughly speaking what used to be centered only in Southeast Asia, which is Theravada. And then there was what was centered in Northeast Asia, which is Mahayana. Both of them coexisted in India. In fact, they influenced each other. And then there was, out of the Mahayana came the Vajrayana, Tibetan and Mongolian Buddhism, which confusingly enough calls itself sometimes the Mahayana, because Mahayana means great way. And then within all of those, there are different schools and there are different, groups. Like roughly speaking, in the Mahayana, the sort of big schools, you have Chan or Zen or Son and Tian, what we in this country call Zen, and then you have Pure Land, which I believe is the most popular, and then uh, you have Huayan, and then you have Tiantai or Tentai, I forget which. You have many, and those are just the four that I know of. And even within those, you have different, like within Pure Land, there are many differences. Within Zen, there are many differences. And then a lot of this is influenced by, the locations. Like Tibetan Buddhism is greatly influenced by the Bon religion, which is the native religion of Tibet, and also by Mongolian shamanism. So Korean Buddhism is somewhat influenced by Korean shamanism. So you have all these influences. Zen is greatly influenced by Taoism in China. So you have all these influences, and so it differs from place to place. But yeah, my experience is like your experiences. I can't imagine a bunch of Buddhists saying, "Okay, let's eat king cake and get drunk, and then tomorrow we'll starve ourselves." That just doesn't quite fit. You know. But maybe it happened somewhere, something like that. I don't know. So, yeah, Mardi Gras. We have a niece who just adores Mardi Gras, just adores Mardi Gras. So she's in her 40s now, and her Facebook page is filled with Mardi Gras. And by the way, you can order genuine king cake from New Orleans. It's too late to do it this year. From a number of places. Haydell's is where we did it last year, but it costs about $70 for one king cake. So, but if you really want it, you can do that. All right, but you gave me a chance to talk about the middle way. So most people think about the middle way as Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold, not too tall, not too thin, not too rich, not too poor, not too much sugar, not too little sugar. Most people think of the middle way as that way, Goldilocks. And in popular culture, that's what it is. And also, sometimes in Buddhism, we talk about it that way. But in in the Madhyamaka school, which is something that influences Zen greatly, and Nagarjuna is the big name there, the middle way means not is and not is not. So whatever you're thinking is wrong. Not is not, not is and is not is and is not. You know, it's very, very abstract philosophy. A lot of the Buddhist sutras, they read like a philosophy course, you know. They're just not just that. I mean, a lot of them, some of them have stories, and some of them are even funny, but most of them kind of read like a philosophy course. And it's this real concern with understanding that our thinking is not an accurate reflection of reality, which may seem like a terrible thing, but it's actually a wonderful thing, because then we get out of the prison that we built for ourselves. We build this prison of our ideas and our likes and our dislikes. Oh, that's no good, you know. You just look at politics. I mean, all the horrible wars and things that are going on, it's because this group of people think that group of people is no good, you know, or this group of people, you know, wants something that that group of people wants also. It's all this kind of stuff, and it all comes from making ourselves separate from this universe and believing our perceptions and believing our thoughts and believing our feelings. And those are tools. I mean, we need them, you know. If we're not thinking, if we're not perceiving, if we're not feeling, we can't function. But to hold it all lightly somehow, and be open to other things, that's a wonderful thing. So that's the middle way, is hold it lightly. Don't fool yourself. Don't grab onto your ideas. Don't grab onto your feelings. Don't grab onto your likes and your dislikes. Just be open. Just be open. Yes. Yes.
So is that,
Speak really loudly.
okay, so is that related? It seems like it's pointing to a similar thing that the Heart Sutra is pointing to.
Of course.
Like a no form.
Yeah, so the question was, the question was about the Heart Sutra. It seemed, so what Jennifer said, because people online can't hear it that clearly, you know, that seems to be related to the Heart Sutra. That is exactly what the Heart Sutra is about. It's exactly what the Heart Sutra is about. Yeah, so form is emptiness, emptiness is form. No eyes, no ears, no tongue, no body, you know, etc. I left one of the sense organs out. So yeah, so this is exactly the point of the Heart Sutra. And I want to, you know, our friend Jess Rowe, who's a senior Dharma teacher in the Quantum School of Zen, and he appeared here yesterday morning, those people who were lucky enough to see him, because he was in Kansas City for a giant meeting of writers and writing teachers and stuff, and he's a novelist and a writing teacher. And he has a wonderful series of classes on the Heart Sutra that's sponsored by the Quantum School of Zen. It's in the series called Zen 360. And Stan and I went to the first one, and the second one is, I believe, a week from Monday. And if you are interested, it unfortunately costs money, but if you're interested, I really recommend signing up, because it's wonderful. He's a very serious scholar of ancient Chinese, and it's just, he's fantastic. So Just Row.
No.
Yeah, right. And yeah, so yeah, that's exactly what the Heart Sutra is about. It's exactly pointing to the true middle way. So yeah, these things, so we say the absolute and the relative are not two. Or maybe it's the absolute and the relative are not two. Yeah, pick your choice. Or the absolute and the relative are not two. you know? But that's really important because there's this absolute. And how does it function? Through the relative. They're not separate. They're not separate. And we are not separate. And I'll use the example I always use. It's like the fingers of a hand. They look like they're separate, but they're not. Whoops, they're not. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so thank you for your question. Are there any other questions? Yes.
When you share louder,
Yeah.
when you say that, our mind has different ways of thinking, and my interpretation is we can't trust what we think sometimes, or we can even see that there's multiple perspectives. From where do you make a choice? Do you have to still pick from your mind? Or thinking about what I've seen Stan do, this hand thing, like in Zen practice, the center is developed. How would you make a choice from a different place than the mind?
So how can you make a choice? You don't make a choice. It comes from here. Yeah. I don't think I've ever made a choice in my life. I think choice is a concept. I mean, I'm not speaking like I read this someplace. I mean, my gut feeling is I've never made a choice in my life. It's like you stand sometimes and you're not sure what road to take, and then suddenly your feet start moving. Where did that come from? So yeah, you have to look at things carefully, you have to take things in, you have to do all that stuff, you have to digest that stuff. And then it'll appear. At least that's honestly been my experience. It's honestly been my experience. And yeah, if you try to hold really tightly, and it's like Allie's talk about this woman who says, I can tell you, I can predict your future. So that's like, just be open, just be open. And it's not like you're open and then everything's wonderful. I mean, this isn't that kind of stuff. You're open and sometimes things are terrible. Sometimes things are really awful. We chanted today for the son of a woman many of us know, Carol Boudreau, and he suddenly discovered he had a brain surgery, and he's having surgery tomorrow, and his parents have COVID. They can't be with him. That's really tough. It's really tough to be in Gaza right now. It's really tough to be in Sudan. So it's not you're open and everything's wonderful, but it's like you're open and then the possibilities are there, and then somehow you'll move, and you have to trust that movement. Another thing my teacher always said is 100%. Whatever you're doing, you do it 100%. So it's like, the 3 pillars of Zen are great question, great faith, and great effort. And the great faith is not faith that things will work out, and it's not faith that somebody's going to protect you. That's not the faith. The faith is just this letting it come in. Just let it come in. Just this faith in the universe in some sense, but not that the universe will make things easy for you, but just this faith, yeah, I know where I belong. I'm part of this universe. It's faith, like when you put your foot down, you don't question whether the ground will be there to meet it. It's that kind of faith that allows you to just do everything 100%. And then when it becomes clear you have to change course, you change course without clinging. Your question is one that everybody has. How do I know what to do with my life? Right? So if your mind is open, then something will appear and you step into it. And maybe it's the wrong thing, then you step out of it. Or go through it, or whatever. But trying to figure it all out, trying to be like this woman to ourselves, okay, I know what my future will be. If I do this, that'll happen. It never works. It never works, right? Especially those of us who have kids, we know it never works, right? Okay, so thank you for your question. We have time for one more question if there is one. Let's go to announcements then.